I'm Mads, a property developer with over £150 million of completed projects. By day, I build super homes around the world for billionaires and royal families. And here at home in the UK, I'm now on a mission to build a 100-unit property portfolio from scratch and using none of my own money to prove that anyone can do it. Today, this is the very first of my weekly update and Q&A, where I start every video by answering your questions about property development and investment. So if you've got one, drop it in the comments below. Then I'll share a challenge or something big from the week that we faced and how we actually overcame it. This could be from one of our global projects like Ronaldo's house that we're doing in Portugal, or one of our 100-unit challenge projects. Look, if you're new here, I started in a branded yellow Volkswagen Beetle selling buy-to-lets in North London. 25 years later, I'm a pretty experienced property developer delivering global trophy homes. And now I'm sharing everything I learned along the way. This series is about giving you unprecedented access to the usually secretive world of high-end development and showing you, deal by deal, how to build a property portfolio from zero. Whether you're just starting out or you're ready to scale, these strategies will apply to you. Right, so we're planning on always starting with the questions, but as this is the first episode, we don't have any. I figured, why not get into the what, why, when, and how of my 100-unit property challenge. So what is the 100-unit challenge? Well, the 100-unit challenge is my personal mission to build a portfolio of 100 rental units, starting from scratch and using none of my own money. Every deal will be funded in partnership with everyday investors you can find on social media, that you can find from networking, all the way up to professional institutional investors. We will see where the journey takes us. In my career, I've always been a property trader. By that, I mean the development companies that I've worked for and the projects that I've done myself, we always developed to exit as soon as possible. We invested, follow the development through, and the exit plan was ASAP in order to get the capital back so it could be recycled. And I get so many questions from people about why have I not built a portfolio? You know, it's all about portfolio building and there's arguments on both sides, but now I'm doing it. And I'm doing it from scratch, and I'm doing it using none of my own money because I want to prove that anyone can do it. Right, so why am I doing it? Well, like I just said, I want to prove that it's still possible to build serious wealth through property, even if you don't have capital. All you need is the knowledge, the relationships, and the right structure. And because I've been in this industry for about 25 years, I know there are so many people stuck on the sidelines. And this is about showing you the actual roadmap and not just talking about it. Right, so when did I start? Well, January of this year. So we're now 8 months in, we've got 11 units secured, and we've got about 23 units going through planning. We also have a few other offers out, so there's lots happening. And how will I do it? Well, as you'll see if you follow these videos, we're exploring all types of asset classes, from option agreement to commercial to HMO to commercial to resi to residential development, the full scale, nothing's off the table. But all it comes down to really is finding undervalued assets with value add potential. And they'll be funded with investor capital. So that could be your everyday person on the street who wants to get into property development or investing. It could be JVs with the current landowners. It could be, it's the only limit is the creativity that you have. But the point is that I'm not using my own money. I'm doing it with everybody else's. So we're partnering on every project. And then as I go along, when we've added value, we will look to refinance to allow us to recycle the capital, to pay back the investors. We will look to sometimes take profit from a development. So we won't necessarily keep every project. If we think that actually we've already added all the value possible and it makes sense to exit now rather than to hold for X years, then we'll sell, and we'll use those funds to scale into the next unit or the next project or whatever it might be. I will make sure that I leverage my team and my contractors and my construction company and my relationships and my network and whatever I can do to find deals and opportunities and to make things happen. And then I will make sure that I will share the whole process publicly every step of the way. I'm already sharing quite a lot on my Instagram page, which is @madsdahl. But this YouTube series going out every week is designed to get more into the nitty gritty of it for those who are interested. And I will also do YouTube videos about each project once they're complete, going through the whole thing from the start. It'd be great if you followed me on the YouTube as well. And finally, who is this for? Who is this show and this channel and this challenge for? It's for anyone who's sat in analysis paralysis. It's basically anybody with big ambition. Anybody who wants to build long-term wealth and true freedom without just waiting for the perfect time. Property is a fantastic asset class, and there's never a better time than the present to get started. So look, I'll start next week with the actual question, so please remember to drop a question in the comment section, and I will answer it in detail next week. Heading over to my spreadsheet here, which I think will give you the best way of giving you a good overview about what's going on. So our global projects at the moment, here we have the Algarve Beach House. That is down in sunny Portugal. That's about £10 million project going on there. We're just actually restarting after the summer break. You're not allowed to work down there during July and August, and we'll look to finish next summer. I'll be sharing as much as I can about that on my social channels. I mean, it's an absolutely incredible cliffside beach house, looking down the beach for miles. Then closer to home in London, we've just actually finishing a £7.5 million mansion near Hyde Park. We're in the snagging stages, just about to hand that over to the client. We've got a £5 million Notting Hill Mews house where we're at the structural element at the moment, finishing next year sometime. And over on Eaton Square in central Belgravia, we're doing the fit out at the moment. That one is shrouded in secrecy because I cannot really talk too much about that. Then we have our pipeline global project. So in Portugal, we're actually involved in trying to acquire another plot. Sorry if I'm looking around here on the keys, so I want to point this out. Trying to buy another plot down there for a project that would be around 11 million euros. So we're waiting to see what happens on that one. We're also looking into a project in Antibes in France. I'm in the search and research stage where I'm figuring everything out, trying to understand where we want to be, where we want to buy. What makes sense, what are the legalities, what are the local rules about planning, build permissions, everything. So there's I'll do a full video on that in the future about how to put that together, but essentially working that whole thing out is where we're at. There's also something in the US bubbling as well, but a little bit too early to mention that one. Right, and then the 100-unit challenge. So again, the goal, 100 units by 2030, no personal capital invested. That's what the whole thing's about. So our first one was a house in Stepgates in Surrey, which is a residential house. We were going to buy the house, we were going to split the house into 2 flats, and then we were going to build another house in the rear garden. It's a bit of a slam dunk, actually. We agreed everything. We got to the point of exchange. We were offering exchange, and then we got contacted saying that the seller had decided to sell somebody else, the neighbor actually, for I think about 100 grand more. So fair enough, but sort of kicking the balls. We'd spent nearly 7k. The investor had funded that, but because it didn't go through, I refunded the investor. I always cover if anything doesn't go through to exchange and whatever, then it comes out of my own pocket as to make sure that no investor is left out of pocket. Right, then we've got down in Tedworth in Surrey, we have an option agreement where we've taken an option agreement is where you essentially contract the land for a certain amount of time. So you have the right to buy that land for X amount of time for a certain price. And then in the meantime, you need to find a way to add value. So on this particular site, we're looking to get planning permission to build another house, big, beautiful house, sound like Trump, big, beautiful house at the bottom of the garden. We've been, that one was signed at the start of this year. We've already had 2 planning objections on it, and we're now going to our 3rd, but we're pretty confident we're going to get that one through. That's a potential units of 2 units. The GDV of that one is 3.5 million. It's an expensive part of town, Tedworth and Surrey. We have spent so far 17k on our planning applications, funded by an investor. over here, I've got a section called potential equity profit and monthly rental profit. I will get into all those numbers once we have either obtained planning or gotten through a stage where we have finalized the deal to the point where we feel comfortable sharing those numbers. But trust me, I will share every penny about that in due course. Then we have another one in Reigate in Surrey, which is another option agreement, which is a massive plot on a very, very prime road in Reigate. We're just going through our second round of pre-application planning at the moment to make sure we get it right. We did one pre-app and they had some tweaks, so we've now gone back to them. The plan is to demolish the main house that's there at the moment and build 3 more houses. This one has a GDV value of 4.5 million, meaning that's what when we finished our development, that's what they'll all be worth. And we are now nearly 22k in the hole for that one. So it's being funded by an investor. Again, if we don't get planning, I will refund them myself to make sure nobody's out of pocket. But there you go. And then we have our deal in Deal, which is a lovely town in Kent, which is a commercial unit. It's a boot. And we are buying that, and we want to release the upper floors to create offices, and there's some planning gain there. So it's 1 unit at the moment. We believe we can get that up to 5. GDV is around 550k. We've spent 7k so far, and we have an investment partner that we brought in on that one who came to us via Instagram. Wanted to get some return. He's getting a 60% return on his investment over 3 years, which is pretty good if you ask me, and it's secured on a charge against the asset, so there's next to no risk in my opinion. This one we actually need to get over the bloody line in the next 5 to 10 days on an exchange. And then we have our biggie at the moment, the one I'm quite excited about. This is down in Newbury in Berkshire. It's a mixed use block. There are 5 retail units at the ground floor. There are 3 residential units at the upper floor, and we believe that we can, through planning permission, get permission for another 6 residential units. So at the moment, that one's got 8 units. We're going to take it to 14, I expect. The GDV is around 1.55. We're going to be raising money for this one soon. I'll share details. If you want to get on the investor detail list, please, there's a link below where you can be on an email list. So any investments that we have you want to join in, we'll send you an email with what we're offering, what the deal or the term is. We'll, if you're interested, we'll jump on a call and we'll get into it that way. Right, and then let's see what stats are going to share here. So I just mentioned, this is the first video, as I mentioned, new investors this week on our mailing list. There is none, but if you want to get on it, please just message me, DM me through Instagram, whatever. So on our mailing list totally at the moment, we have 32 investors on our mailing list. I've got here mentoring clients. This is something I'm going to start doing, offering some one-to-one coaching for some people starting in October. I'm quite keen to help someone if they want to really move the dial with their own developments, or they've got a big project they need help with, or they've got many projects they want help with. This is something I'm looking into doing. Over on the socials, and now I think it's important to share the socials because, for example, that project that we're doing in that Ronaldo's place in Portugal, that came to us via Instagram. People see the work that we do, they love it, they get in touch. And, socials are just massively important for any kind of business development. So on Instagram, I've got 5,098 at the moment. LinkedIn, on followers, I have 3,115. And YouTube, I am now at 100, which I just checked about 5 minutes ago. I doubt it's gone anywhere since then. Right, and then finally, looking to next week. So I am heading to Portugal in a couple of days' time to check in with the team down there. We've got the structural work coming in for a big extension that we're doing back towards the pool to create a much larger master deck. So I'll share some details of that when I'm down there in a few days. For the 100 unit challenge, the commercial unit, the deal and deal, the commercial unit, the boots, I'm pushing like crazy to get that exchanged. I want to get that exchanged this Friday. What's that? The 10th of the 12th, 11th. I just want to get that exchanged. It's with the lenders in Bay at the moment. I'm just waiting for the valuation report to come through. As soon as it's done, that's fully funded. funded by, like I said, a normal everyday investor. We got great lending terms from Interbay. We've done all our DD. I just want to get that exchanged. I want to renegotiate the terms with the tenants there for another 20-year lease and get cracking with that one. We also need to, as a business, we need to finalize handing over our Hyde Park project to our client, and also my Copenhagen project, which we finished a couple of weeks ago. I need to get that bad boy refinanced. So that's something I'm working towards probably end of next week. That's it, man. Thank you very much for listening. I will be back here next week with the same again, with new questions, new updates, whatever. Please, if you've got any questions, drop them in the comments. I will definitely answer them in as much detail as I can get away with. Cheers. Have a good evening or good day.